1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome back to Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Ow, ow.
I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am one of your hosts, Honeybee.
Folks, today's episode is not going to be edited at all.
You're getting
We
it
have
raw,
both
baby.
had a bit of a... that cough, I'm leaving it in. Because of reasons, we've had a week and we're recording this at the last minute, but we don't want to let you down. We want to get it out in time. So no editing. That's just how we roll.
Yeah.
And what is the movie we're looking at today, Honeybee?
The movie we are looking at today is Alligator, 1980s Alligator.
Alligator. If this is your first time joining us, where have you been? But
Welcome is what he meant to say.
yeah, the premise of the show is that we are two best friends who are making our way through the history of kaiju movies, giant monster movies. We started in 1933 with King Kong, and now we are up to 1980 with Alligator.
Wow, we are in 1980. Isn't that amazing?
Yep. Let's see. This movie was directed by Louis Teague from a screenplay by John Sayles. Music by Craig Hundley. You sure about that? Because some of that music sounded like it was by John Williams, if you know what I'm saying.
What?
You know, that sort of dun-dun, 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 some, yeah.
It was different. It was different, just enough different.
It was legally distinct.
It was legally different enough that no one was sued, no copyright infringement here.
Yeah. But this is another one of our sort of Jaws ripoff movies. The running time is 94 minutes. It is in color. It's in English from the United States. The budget was $1,750,000. Box office was $6,459,000. So it was a reasonable investment.
Hell yeah, it was.
Let's see. What do we got here? It stars
Oh man.
Robert Forster as Detective David Madison. Robert Forster's been on a lot of stuff. Robin Riker as Marissa Kendall. Michael V. Gazzo as Chief Clark. Dean Jagger, Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actor, Dean Jagger as Slade. Sidney Lassick as Luke Gutschall. That's the pet store guy. Jack Carter as the mayor. Perry Lang as Officer Jim Kelly. Henry Silva as Colonel Brock. Henry Silva's been in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Stuff from this era. He plays a lot of bad guys. He's the big game hunter asshole.
Uh-huh.
He's played this type of part in a lot of things from this period. Bart Braverman as Thomas Kemp. Angel Tompkins as newswoman. Sue Lyon as NBC newswoman. Royce D. Applegate as Callan. Jim Boak as Shamsky. Peter Miller as Sergeant Rice. Pat Peterson as Joey. Nicole Mercurio as Joey's mother. Dick Richards as Alligator Vendor number 2. Alligator Vendor number 1 is not listed here. I don't know why.
Aw, what the?
Kendall Carly Brown as Anne. Maybe his part got cut.
He was debatably a better vendor.
Mike Mazurki as Gatekeeper, and Kane Hodder, uncredited, as Ramon the Alligator Hunter. Kane Hodder was Jason, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, he's best known for playing Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
4 times he played Jason Voorhees.
Cool. Well, what a start.
He also has played Leatherface in one of those movies.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. Honeybee, any opening thoughts on Alligator?
Man. Okay, well, my opening thoughts on Alligator are, it started so strong for me. This movie, it's good. Like, it starts really strong and it carries through, but oh man, by the end of this fucking movie, I hated it. Like, it starts so good, and it's so, like, I love it, and, like, I love the effects, I love the alligator, I really love it, but when the freaking detective meets the woman towards the second half of the movie, everything fucking goes downhill for me. I have a note here. That's a bummer.
I have a note here that says "Lady Scientist," and then I'm trying to start the tepid romance, but you're not participating.
Ugh, God.
It does heat up rather quickly, though.
It does, but it's so horrible and toxic, and he sucks so bad. Like, he's so good in the beginning of the movie, and the movie is so good, and everything's going so well, and then it's like he meets a woman, and everything just goes to shit. He just becomes like a fucking douche rocket, and the movie, I understand why it made so much money, and oh man, there's so many cool effects in this one, like so many cool little jump scares, and I'm just so happy to be in 1980. I'm so happy to be in these effects, and like, I was like, dang, how big is this alligator? And we don't really know for a while. It doesn't feel really kaiju-y so much for me towards the beginning, but I guess towards the end when we get like a bit better scale of how big he is, it felt a little bit better, you know? But yeah, I feel like this movie really started strong for me, and then like as it progressed, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? You know, but it was, so any opening thoughts for you?
I mean, well, yeah, one thought I had was that this is like a police procedural movie of the period more than a monster movie. Just the tone of it and a lot of the steps we go through is the same that we would have had pursuing like a serial killer instead of a monster. It's full of
I think they think it's a serial killer at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's full of cop cliches. It's not clear to me whether they're trying to sort of make a commentary about these cop cliches or if they're just doing the cliches. So, I guess we should just get into the...
Get into it, yeah.
Get into the plot. I'm going to use a summary from Wikipedia here. Thank you, Wikipedia. In 1968, the year I was born, a teenage girl purchases a baby American alligator while on vacation with her family at a tourist trap in Florida. When the family returns home to Chicago,
okay, wait. That is not how it starts. Yes. That is not how it starts. They're at this like show, watching this like alligator show, and a trainer gets attacked by an alligator, and the girl sees this whole thing, and for some reason still wants to buy a baby alligator, even though she just saw this grown alligator attack a man. And the way that they like portray it, you know, like it's very like show businessy, like, oh, he'll be up in no time, folks. Sometimes we wrangle these alligators and the alligators win, but don't you worry. Yeah. And then she even like sees his like limp ass body, all like, oh, and she still buys the baby alligator.
Yeah. Well, she seems to already be interested in and know things about the alligator, because she said about alligators in general, because she says, just turn him over on his back and he'll go to sleep, which is easier said than done. But yeah, as the man is getting mauled by the alligator, she's kibitzing from the sidelines.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, they buy the alligator and then they go back home to Chicago, where the girl's surly, animal-phobic father promptly flushes it down the toilet and into the city's sewers.
For absolutely no reason. He just literally walks in the room, picks up the alligator there's no context. He's just like, where is she? And the mom's like, oh, she's out with her friends. And he's like, I'm gonna flush this fucking alligator down the toilet for no reason. It was just so random. Like, what the hell? There was no reason.
Well, I mean, they describe him as animal phobic, and he does seem to have just an irrational fear of animals, because she says, what are we going to tell her? Like, we'll tell her it died while she was at school, just like we did with the hamster. So apparently she had a pet hamster that he just flipped out about and flushed down the toilet. Or something.
Probably if he let her keep the hamster, she wouldn't want a fucking alligator, because she'd have a hamster. Yeah. She wouldn't need another pet.
Yep.
Yeah, so we see the alligator like fall into the sewers, which is important.
Yeah. So this is an urban legend. I think the urban legend predates this movie. I think that's where the movie got its basic idea. Yeah, there's an urban legend that there are alligators living in the sewers because kids buy little tiny pet alligators and then they get too big and they flush them down the toilet. Or the parents don't want them, they flush them down the toilet. And
what the fuck?
They live down in the sewers. Sometimes they're described as albino alligators living down in the sewers.
Because they don't get any sun?
Don't think, but that's not how albinism works, but that's how they're described. It's genetic. You're born that way. Right. I have no idea if there is any truth to it whatsoever. And I forgot to look it up. But I believe it is completely an urban legend, and they don't survive down in the sewer. If this does happen, I don't think they survive very long down in the sewers to grow up and become giant and start eating humans.
No, they probably just starve down there.
Yeah. I also wrote down Gator Ramon. She named the gator Ramon, which is also the name of the alligator hunter, I guess. The guy that was wrestling the alligators. Because on another piece of paper I wrote Ramon Santiago. I'm not sure who that was. If that was the hunter.
Yeah, I think
or the alligator's full name.
No, I don't think she gave it a full name.
And I also wrote 1968 Democratic Convention, which is how we know exactly what year it is, because the news is talking about the 68 Democratic Convention, which is also how we know that they're in Chicago. Wikipedia mentions that the commentary on the DVD says it's in Chicago, but the police vehicles appear to have Missouri license plates. And when the young Marissa returns home with her family from their vacation in Florida, they pass a sign that reads, "Welcome to Missouri." Later, the voice of a newscaster identifies Marissa as a native of our city, implying the location is a city in Missouri other than St. Louis. I'm not sure what that means. Also, the movie states multiple times it takes place in a city in Missouri other than St. Louis. I'm not... I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe I guess they refer to St. Louis as being somewhere else. I don't know how we know that. And Bryan Cranston worked as a special effects assistant on the movie, in charge of making and rigging the alligator guts for the film's finale.
Ew. Delicioso.
Anyway, the baby alligator survives by feeding on the discarded carcasses of animals used in illegal experimentation and dumped into the sewers. This is really jumping ahead. So the next thing we see is our so-called hero, the detective.
Which at this point in the movie, it feels right. It feels right to call him that at this point.
He's buying a dog from a pet store. Did he say something happened to the other one? Somebody stole the other one. Right?
The only note I have about this scene is this odd conversation about being bald and that this pet store guy is a little strange.
Yes, the pet store guy is very strange.
Yeah, and then I also wrote that this movie is very, like, E.T. quality. Like, I feel like we're getting into movies that, like, I've seen the quality before. Like, the quality of the movie is, like, nostalgic to me. Do you know what I mean?
You mean just... What do you mean by quality? Like,
I mean, like,
how good it is, or just the film like technique, the sort of...
Yeah, like, visually, how the movie looks, the kind of, like, fuzziness of the
sort
quality of the film.
Sort of films, the kind of film stock and cameras that they're using.
Yeah, yes.
From a period that you are familiar with.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So the fact that he's balding in front is a running joke throughout the movie, and it seems to really be concerning him.
I really was annoyed by it. I didn't.
He
really
brings
think
it
was
up
funny
preemptively when he's trying to get with the lady.
Yeah.
But I think he's bought a puppy because his other one got stolen, which we will quickly find out that it's the pet store guy that probably stole it.
Yep.
So it turns out this asshole, this guy that runs a pet store, is selling dogs. Then he is going and kidnapping the dogs he's sold, and maybe any other dogs that he runs across, and selling them to a lab that is doing experiments. And then also discarding the bodies.
Them down the sewer.
Yeah, he supplies the dogs and disposes of the corpses. And the lab is doing hormone experiments to growth hormone stuff intended to increase agricultural livestock meat production, according to Wikipedia here. However, the project was abandoned because while the formula had the desired effect of making the animals larger than normal, it had the unwanted side effect of massively increasing the animals' metabolism, causing them to develop an insatiable appetite. During the 12 years spanning 1968 to 1980, the baby alligator bioaccumulates concentrated amounts of this formula from feeding on these carcasses, causing it to mutate and grow into a perpetually ravenous 36-foot monster resembling a Dinosuchus perusaurus hybrid with an almost impenetrable hide. But this is not accurate, though. The experiment has not been abandoned. They're doing it right now in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's unclear if this growth has happened over the course of the last several years or if it's just happened recently as they've been dumping these bodies into the sewer. He may have been a normal-sized alligator until recently because he hasn't been killing people this whole time.
Yeah. Also,
anyway,
when we first see his eye come up in the sewer, and we see his little eye skin do the thing, it reminded me of our first icon for the show when we first started the show, and it was just that eyeball.
Yeah, that was some kind
eyeball.
Yep. That was some stock image that Anchor provided as a option until I designed a proper logo. The alligator begins ambushing and devouring sewer workers. The resulting discovery of body parts exiting the sewers draws in world-weary police detective David Madison, who, after a horribly botched case in St. Louis, oh, that's how we know it's not St. Louis, because he left St. Louis to come work at this department. A horribly botched case in St. Louis has gained a reputation for being lethally unlucky for his assigned partners. As David works on the case, his boss, Chief Clark, introduces him to herpetologist Marissa Kendall. Lady scientist, hooray!
Lady scientist, bingo!
Kendall was, in fact, the teenager who bought the baby alligator in 1968. The two of them edge into a prickly romantic relationship, and during a visit to Kendall's house, Madison bonds with her motor-mouthed mother.
You could say that, I guess. That's one way to say it.
It's been weeks since I watched this movie, but there was this weird thing of him going to her house and then leaving and then coming back. And then, you know, they get into bed together because they met the day before.
Yeah, but okay, he later uses it against her that she even lives with her mother, and before he even goes to her house, she goes to his house too. It's just weird. It's so disgusting. I hated every single thing about this romance because it's horrible. The way he treats her, the way that we don't know anything about her. Every single scene is just like him talking about how fucking great he is or how insecure he is. And then, I don't know, I just really hated this romance. It's one of the worst. It's one of the, 1930s, romances that we saw, that level of just disgusting for me. And it really ruined a lot of this movie for me. Because the alligator in this movie is so cool. The camera angles are cool. The growls are cool. The, puppetry is cool. Those little moments that we get where it's we just see the alligator move in the light in the dark, behind them. We get a few of those moments. It's so good. It's genuinely creepy. They do that thing in this movie where there's a few jump scares, but it's something silly, a friend aha, oh, you scared me. And then the real shit is somewhere around the corner. It's just so good. But the romance in this movie squashes all of that because it takes up way too much of the time, and it's 1000% unnecessary, and it's 1000% unnecessary how this man treats this woman and how it's just completely okay and acceptable, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also part of this trying to be a police procedural movie. And as if we care about the policeman and his life. In those movies that, they tend to be really more about the policeman than the criminal. Mm-hmm. And so we're supposed to give a shit about him and his romance that always happens and whatever. And so they're trying to put they're spending a lot of time on that when they should be spending more time on the alligator.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I didn't really like the romance either. I was just kind of well, at least it's not as tepid as I thought it was going to be. They actually, in some of the older movies, they set up a romance and then it doesn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So this one did at least go somewhere, but in an unpleasant way. Yeah. In a rather unpleasant way. And it is very much well, we're in this movie together, so I guess we gotta fall in love or lust at least. Oh, God, so yeah, it's I met a woman at work, so therefore I must have a romance with her.
I need to put my dick inside of her.
Yeah, it's uncalled for. So
not good. Bring back the alligator for fuck's sake. Take me back to the real sewer instead of the sewer of the relationship this is. God. Jesus.
Moving on. Madison's reputation as a partner killer is confirmed when the alligator devours a young officer named Kelly, who accompanies Madison into the sewer searching for clues. No one believes Madison's story due to a lack of a body and partially because of Slade, the influential local tycoon who sponsored the illegal experiments and therefore wants the truth concealed. This changes when obnoxious tabloid reporter Thomas Kemp, one of the banes of Madison's existence, goes snooping in the sewers and procures graphic and indisputable photographic evidence of the beast at the involuntary cost of his life.
Which, I mean, he was a really garbage kind of reporter, asshole guy. I wasn't sad to see him go.
Yeah.
But
they're having a press conference about the
really cool.
They're having a press conference about the investigation, and he's like, so how about that partner you got killed?
Ugh,
Why did I drag up that old story? And he's like, fuck you, buddy. We didn't, and it didn't mention, but the pet store guy did also get eaten by the alligator, and he certainly deserved it.
He definitely did. And because it's the first time that we're kind of seeing that, the alligator, eating a person, the way that they do this death is so cool because they have him kind of in this sewer and he's standing in this kind of tunnel spot. And the way the alligator sneaks up on him, there's really nowhere for him to go. So he just falls back and we kind of get this POV from the alligator camera angle and with the sound effects, it was really good. It was, as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a good movie. Like, we're getting into it. It's good. It doesn't, like, when you see it, you're not like laughing so hard because it's so corny or fake. You know what I mean? Like, it looked really good. It was well done. So I think that the effects and those things in this movie are so good.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that part.
Well, just all of the deaths were really like the camera angles they use and the sound effects. They're just good. A lot of times they're horrible, Right. Let's see. The story quickly garners public attention and a citywide hunt for the monster is called for. After the police unsuccessfully attempt to flush out the alligator, Madison is put on suspension. The alligator escapes from the sewers and comes to the surface, first killing a police officer and later a young boy who, during a party, is tossed into a swimming pool in which the alligator sought rest. And I had a note about that. Yes, that part was scary. Like the way the alligator is looking up when the mommy turns the pool lights on. And you can just see his mouth there, and the little boy can see it. Oh, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good.
Just like Tentacles, this movie did not hesitate to kill a child.
Yeah, fuck them kids.
My note about this was a suburban swimming pool, short time later in an urban alley. Just that the alligator gets around really quickly.
That was so good though. That's another one of those like great camera angles where it's like, ooh, it's so actually scary. It's like, ooh, so good.
And wasn't there a lot of blood in the pool?
Yes, it was. They did not spare little whatever his name was.
I think that was
Donald.
Joey.
His name was Donald.
Donald. Oh, okay, yeah, that would explain this note. Donald! Exclamation point.
Yeah, mine says OMG! Exclamation point, Donald! The pool light was very scary.
So, let's see. The ensuing hunt continues, including the hiring of pompous big game hunter Colonel Brock to track the animal. Once again, the effort fails. Brock is devoured. The police trip over each other confusedly, and the alligator goes on a rampage. Oh, hold on. I don't want to read that part yet. I want to talk about Brock. I found the whole bit with him kind of racist. And I don't know if they were trying to comment on it. So there's a trope in movies and literature of the big game hunter, the white man who goes to Africa to hunt big game.
To save
elephants,
the
lions,
Africans.
tiger. No, just not to save them, just to hunt.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Just a big asshole hunter. And
Okay.
he always hires a bunch of local guides to guide him through the jungles. And they do that here, except the local guides are, for the neighborhood, the city that they're in. But he basically hires some young black kids to be his guides and attempts to treat them in the way that he would if he were in Africa hiring some natives. And there's a whole also trope of the urban jungle, of the streets of the city being like a jungle that is dangerous and lawless. And this whole thing was playing into all of those sort of racist concepts. And I'm not entirely sure if they were trying to critique that or just exploit it. But I didn't care for it.
I didn't even like think about, I didn't notice or like see that or any of that. So,
Well,
the only movie I can think of like that though, where like the guy, that's why I was like Save the Africans, was because I was thinking of, is it like Ghost something? Ghost in the Darkness, which is like a true story, I think, where they're like building or maybe it's not, I don't know, where they're like building, I think it's like a railroad, and these lions are like really attacking this village, and they hire this man to come, and he like, anyways, that's the only movie that I've seen. Some
white dude to come in and shoot it.
Yeah, to come. I think I haven't seen the movie in a while, but it's something like that. Yeah, that was what I was thinking of when you were saying that, like, that's a trope, is that's maybe the only time that I've seen that. So I didn't recognize that in this scene. It was, I didn't even see that. So.
You might see that kind of thing in a lot of old Tarzan movies or just jungle adventure movies. Sometimes they're more explorers than hunters, but they're usually, they're a bunch of white guys with guns who've hired the locals to show them the way through the jungle. And the locals tend to be expendable and often not have names. And they just, they're porters. Well, and he hands the kid, his gun or something to carry for him. So it seemed very clear to me that the movie makers were doing this on purpose. The fact that he has him carry his equipment for him is part of the function of that relationship. Part of what you hire them for is to carry your shit, to be bearers, as well as guides. So I think that was done very purposely. And maybe the fact that he ends up dead and they don't, or at least one of them gets away. I can't remember if they both get away.
Well, there's three of them, so two of them get away, I think, and one of them gets eaten. But
maybe they are trying to critique it because the big game hunter gets killed. So, but I found it all uncomfortable. Anyway, the police trip over. The police trip over each other confusedly, and the alligator goes on a rampage through a high society wedding party hosted at Slade's mansion. Among its victims are Slade himself, the mayor, and Slade's chief scientist for the hormone experiments and intended son-in-law. I loved this part. I absolutely loved this part.
Oh, yeah, tell me.
Alligator, eat the rich. Fuck them. I just loved that the alligator was eating all the rich people who were also directly responsible for this mess. And that they got what was coming to them. I was perfectly fine with that. Fuck those guys. It was also just really, really brutal and graphic, and I thought pretty well done, and I liked it. And I think there was a lot of white clothes for the wedding, which the blood shows up really nicely on. Madison and Kendall finally lure the reptile into the sewers before setting off explosives, killing it. Oh yeah, I wrote down Chekhov's methane. Because at some point they showed us there was a bunch of methane that could then get blown up. Or there was there methane in the sewer? They mentioned methane at one point, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yes,
that's how we're
yeah.
gonna get rid of the alligator.
Yeah, they give him masks. He's like, here, wear these masks in case you get to the methane pockets or whatever.
Oh yeah, down in the sewers. I also wrote, why did the car blow up? They set off explosives, killing it. As they walk away, a drain pipe into the sewer spits out another baby alligator, thus potentially repeating the cycle all over again. Or to put it more simply, the here we go again ending.
Mm-hmm. I have to say the manhole garbage truck fiasco was a good touch. Where like at the end there, he's like on a timer before the methane explodes, and the lady's like waiting for the garbage truck, and the lady's scientist is like, "Ma'am, you have to move," and he's like, "Come on, bitch, move," and she's like, "What did he call me?"
Yeah, so he's down in the sewer, setting up the explosives and stuff, and is trying to get out of the manhole, and this woman has stopped at a traffic light or something and has parked her car tire directly on top of the manhole cover. So he can't move it.
Yeah, she's waiting she's waiting for the garbage truck to move, so she can't really go forward. She would have to go backwards.
Yes. And Kendall is out there yelling at her to move her damn car as the bomb counts down. So, but he gets out just in time. And then I think we see like explosion fire or whatever coming up through the manhole. And I think it blows some nearby manhole covers.
Yeah. The alligator looks so meaty. Like when he explodes, I thought he looks so like meaty and juicy. I thought it looked really great. Like
that's
it looked
good eating.
Yeah, it looked really real. It didn't look like a puppet, blowing up.
Alrighty. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Alligator from 1980. Honeybee.
I'm gonna say this is 3.5 stars for me because it would be higher. Honestly, I think the movie is great, but the romance, once the sex got involved, it really went downhill for me. And I even wrote down like this conversation that they have when he's like talking, like gonna take her to dinner. And he's like, hey, I'm going to take you to dinner now. But if this question on my mind, if you're going to sleep with me or not when we get back, like, is on my mind, then I'm not going to be able to, like, be here for the dinner. So why don't you just go ahead and tell me now? Are you going to come home with me after the dinner? Like, and he's like, and he doesn't ask her to dinner either. He's like, I'm going to take you to dinner now. Like, all of this shit, right? And it's just so, and then she just gets up and kisses him. This was right after he said the words, when I first met you, I thought you were a tight ass. I'm like, I just really hated it so much. It really, I highly recommend watching the movie, okay? For the fact that the alligator is so good. The effects are so good. The jump scares, wonderful. The music, great. Sound effects, awesome. It's a good movie. But once the sex gets involved, once the romance gets involved, the movie, the character building changes, the dynamic changes, the movie just completely changed for me, and it just like went downhill. So it's a 3.5 for me, but I do highly recommend the movie, and I do think it's good. Like, I wish it could get a bigger rating because I want to, but I just can't do it.
I think I'll give it a excuse me. No editing, folks. I think I'll give it a 3. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3, but mostly because of the wedding party massacre.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it I didn't really care for, and yeah, it was kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the wedding party makes up for a lot.
Nice.
So there you have it. Alligator.
All right.
Folks.
Alligator.
We have We have a Patreon, patreon.com/MMFTG. Join us there for bonus episodes, early releases when possible, ad-free episodes when relevant. Right now we have no ads. Follow us on Spotify so we can get some more ads. Or follow us on Patreon if you don't want us to have ads. Rate and review us on all the things. Find our stuff on the web. I'm thinking of maybe actually paying money for a website. I haven't committed to that yet. And Honeybee and I are making plans to attend G-Fest this summer.
Yay!
That is
so excited.
That's a big kaiju convention that is put on by G-Fan magazine. And it is the biggest kaiju convention in the world, apparently. I thought the one in Japan would be the biggest, but apparently this one is the biggest. Linda Miller is going to be a guest there this year.
Oh my goodness.
Who we interviewed back on our King Kong versus Godzilla episode. We interviewed Linda Miller. So
Linda Miller. I can't wait to meet her in person.
Yeah, we'll definitely get in line and get her autograph. I'm trying to get on some panels, but they haven't announced that yet, so I don't know if we're going to be on panels or not, but we're trying to do that. But if you're going to G-Fest, look for us there.
Yeah,
we won't have our own table.
Super cute.
Yeah, we won't have our own table or anything, but we will be walking around and we'll be trying to interview people and get some content and film some shit, and we will be there.
Yes, yeah, baby.
So that's gonna do it for today. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Come back now, you hear?
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texacato Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MMFTG.